The story opens with our protagonist, Junta Shiraishi, explaining his biggest problem. He's practically invisible. Not metaphorically, literally. Teachers forget to call his name, classmates don't register him standing right beside them, and even school photos mysteriously exclude him. We meet Nagisa Kubo, pretty, popular, confident. And unlike everyone else, she notices Shiraishi immediately. Not only does she see him, she zeroes in on him. For Shiraishi, this is terrifying. For Kubo, it's the most interesting discovery she's made all day. She starts small, encouraging him to speak up in class, nudging him to do things that might finally get him noticed. Meanwhile, Shiraishi just wants to survive high school quietly. He's not ready for this attention at all. Their chemistry appears immediately. Kubo pushes, Shiraishi panics, and somehow they meet in the middle. Kubo sits directly on Shiraishi's lap, or as close as the framing allows, and nobody reacts. Not the students, not even the teacher. Shiraishi is mortified. Kubo, she's having the time of her life. It's a perfect visual representation of the show's premise. Shiraishi blends into the background unless Kubo decides otherwise. Later, Kubo casually asks for Shiraishi's phone number. He's shocked, flustered, and halfway through giving it when her friends interrupt. They don't see Shiraishi standing right there, so the moment collapses. This becomes a running frustration for him. Kubo can find him every time, but the rest of the world? Not a chance. Throughout the episode, we get glimpses of Shiraishi's thoughts. He doesn't understand why Kubo is paying attention to him. Is she teasing him for fun? Is she trying to be a friend? Or is it something more? The episode keeps things light, but you can feel that Shiraishi has never had anyone pull him out of the background before, and he's not sure how to handle it. Next, after gym class, Shiraishi is quietly stressing about smelling sweaty. It's the kind of thing that would embarrass anyone, but for him it feels 10 times worse because he already wants to avoid attracting attention. Enter Kubo. She casually hands him a scented towel, like it's no big deal. But to Shiraishi, this is way more personal than he's used to. And Kubo, she looks just a little too pleased that now they smell the same. These tiny, intimate micro-moments are exactly what the show thrives on. Later, Shiraishi heads to the bookstore to buy the newest volume of his favorite manga. Simple errand, right? Well, not for Shiraishi. He walks up to the automatic door and it doesn't open. It literally doesn't detect him. He waves, he steps closer, nothing. Peak Shiraishi energy. Just when he's stuck outside, like an NPC who lost his pathfinding, Kubo shows up. She sees him instantly, opens the door effortlessly, and walks in with him like it's completely normal. Inside, Kubo becomes curious about the manga he's buying. She asks if she can borrow the earlier volumes. Not teasing, not messing with him, just genuinely wanting to share something he likes. For Shiraishi, this is shocking. Nobody's ever taken interest in his hobbies before. For Kubo, it's another excuse to stay close. As they walk outside together, Kubo casually discovers something important. Their houses are only 5 minutes apart. And she doesn't hesitate for a second. She just decides, we should walk to school together from now on. Shiraishi is stunned and a little overwhelmed, but it's clear he doesn't hate the idea. Throughout the episode, you can see Kubo's quiet strategy for getting closer to him, borrowing his manga, helping him with little inconveniences, finding reasons to spend everyday moments together. She's bold when teasing him, but these soft gestures show a shy, more tender side. It's not just teasing anymore, it's affection with purpose. Episode 3 opens with Shiraishi reminding us why he's practically a background NPC. But of course, Nagisa Kubo notices him instantly. As usual, she kicks off the day with playful teasing that puts Shiraishi on the defensive. During a chat with her sister Akina, Kubo starts thinking about Christmas. Later, she casually asks Shiraishi if he has any holiday plans, and you can see the gears turning in her head. This is the setup for all the gift-giving chaos to come. Shiraishi stops at a bookstore and tries to sneak a peek at a magazine he probably shouldn't be seen looking at. But luck isn't on his side. The clerk notices him. And the clerk is Akina, Kubo's older sister. The shock on Shiraishi's face says it all. Not only can she see him, she also teases him about what he was browsing. In all the embarrassment, Shiraishi drops his student ID. Akina finds it and later hands it to Kubo, giving her the perfect opportunity to tease Shiraishi even more about the magazine incident. He just cannot catch a break. Kubo soon invites Shiraishi to go shopping with her on Christmas Eve, and casually drops that she already bought him a present. This sends Shiraishi into panic mode as he scrambles to find something thoughtful to give her in return. Shiraishi settles on a pair of warm gloves that match Kubo's style. Simple, sweet, and practical. Kubo's gift for him, though, is peak mischievous affection, a bright yellow main character t-shirt. It's goofy, but it's her way of saying she wants him to stand out more. Shiraishi, of course, is mortified, but also secretly touched. We open with Shiraishi arriving at school, only to realize he's wearing mismatched socks. For most people, minor embarrassment. For Shiraishi, absolute social apocalypse. Naturally, Kubo notices immediately and teases him with that calm confidence only she can pull off. A classic start. Shiraishi tries to disappear. Kubo refuses to let him. The whole school is alive with Valentine's Day energy. Friends gossiping, chocolates getting passed around. Shiraishi assumes, with complete certainty, that none of this applies to him. He's just trying to blend into the air. When he sits at his desk, he finds something unexpected. A heart-shaped chocolate tucked inside. He freezes. Shiraishi's first thought, someone must have put this in the wrong desk, because the idea of actually receiving a Valentine is, in his mind, impossible. The rest of the day, Shiraishi overanalyzes the chocolate. Who left it? Was it meant for him? Could it really be a Valentine? Meanwhile, Kubo stays close, smiling like she knows exactly what's going on, but doesn't say a thing. By the end of the episode, it's strongly implied, or, depending on the adaptation, subtly revealed who left the chocolate. It's a gentle payoff, not flashy or dramatic. Shiraishi doesn't make a big scene, but you can tell it makes him genuinely happy. It's lunchtime, and Shiraishi is about to eat alone again, until Kubo suddenly appears beside him. She sits down like it's the most natural thing in the world, instantly breaking his solitude. And of course, she doesn't stop there. She suggests they share food. Shiraishi gets flustered, trying to avoid the embarrassment of being hand-fed, but things flip around, and he ends up feeding her instead. Kubo loves every second of it, and the moment has her confidently announcing that she'll cook for him next time, even though her cooking skills might be questionable. We then shift to a cafe where Kubo is hanging out with her friends Hazuki and Tama. This scene is great because we finally get more insight into Kubo outside of her moments with Shiraishi. The girls quickly pick up on something. Kubo is acting like someone who might have a crush, and naturally they tease her for it. She tries brushing them off, but it's obvious Shiraishi is the one on her mind. To lighten the mood, Tama shares an embarrassing childhood story, which sends the whole table into laughter and gives this scene really warm, slice-of-life energy. When the group starts talking about people they want to look out for, the camera lingers on Kubo. She doesn't admit anything directly, but her expression says everything. Shiraishi is that person for her, even if she won't say it out loud yet. As the day winds down, the episode shifts into a softer tone. There's even a short musical-style montage set in the classroom that adds a gentle atmosphere. Shiraishi reflects on everything that happened, the shared food, Kubo's confidence, and the possibility that he might not actually dislike being noticed. It's small progress, but for this show, small steps are everything. The episode opens in the usual classroom setting, where Shiraishi blends into the background as always. But it doesn't stay ordinary for long. While running errands, Shiraishi unexpectedly bumps into Kubo's older sister, Akina, and her little cousin, Saki. Unlike most people, they have no trouble noticing him, which throws Shiraishi off immediately. Akina teases him a bit about an earlier embarrassing incident, and the three end up exchanging numbers. For Shiraishi, who normally goes unseen by everyone, being pulled into Kubo's family orbit is a huge deal. Back at home, Shiraishi feels the pressure of upcoming exams. His mom warns him that if his grades slip, his games are gone, so he takes his studying seriously. This sets up the next big moment. At school, Shiraishi heads to the library to study. And of course, Kubo spots him immediately. She notices he's struggling with his math work and offers to help. Unlike her usual playful teasing, this scene is gentle and supportive. Kubo walks him through problems patiently, encouraging him without making him feel embarrassed. It's one of the first times we see her care for him so directly, not just because she enjoys teasing him, but because she genuinely wants him to succeed. After all the studying, Shiraishi ends up getting sick and misses school. For most people, his absence would go unnoticed, but not for Kubo. She immediately realizes he isn't there and becomes genuinely worried. She checks up on him, showing a level of concern that goes well beyond friendly teasing. It's a big shift. She isn't just amused by him anymore, she genuinely cares. As the episode goes on, Shiraishi reflects on everything that's happened, meeting Kubo's family, studying with her, and now her concern over his health. For someone who always feels like a side character in life, these small events add up. The episode plays with this idea, giving Shiraishi a subtle main character moment where he realizes that maybe, just maybe, he does matter to someone. Before we continue, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy seeing content like this. Now, back to the video. We open right after finals, and the big question is, did Junta score well enough to move on to the next grade? Kubo helped him study, so she's extra invested, but underneath that concern is her real fear, that the next school year might separate them into different classes. It's an unusually quiet moment of vulnerability from her. On the walk home, rain starts pouring, and Kubo seizes the perfect opportunity. She slips under Junta's umbrella, getting close enough to test her theory. Does being near Junta make him more noticeable? Junta, of course, is flustered the whole time, wondering if this is an experiment or just Kubo wanting to be close. Spoiler, it's obviously both. As they walk, Kubo's older sister, Akina, spots them together. Normally, she'd tease her mercilessly, but this time, she just quietly watches and lets them be. It's a small moment, but it shows that even the people around them are starting to pick up on the growing connection. Over the weekend, Junta accidentally runs into Saki, struggling with groceries. Being the cinnamon roll he is, he helps her carry them home. While they chat, Saki gets curious about just how close he and Kubo are. She even gets him to say Kubo's first name, Nagisa, out loud. And when Kubo reacts with a bright blush later, well, Saki gets all the confirmation she needs. That night, Kubo has a sleepover with Tama and Hazuki. The topic of the night? Next year's class reassignments. The girls worry they might not end up together, but for Kubo, the thought of being separated from Junta clearly weighs heaviest. She tries to hide it, but her friends can tell. She doesn't want the distance between them to grow. The episode wraps up by returning to its main theme, uncertainty about the future. Kubo puts on a brave face, but it's clear she's afraid of losing the day-to-day closeness she shares with Junta. It's a gentle, introspective ending, a reminder that even small changes can feel huge when you care about someone. The episode kicks off with Junta and his little brother Seita out shopping when, boom, they run right into Kubo and Saki. Seita instantly falls head over heels for Saki, while Akina wastes no time teasing Kubo and Junta. Before anyone can escape, Akina invites everyone to a cherry blossom viewing picnic the next day. And just like that, the stage is set. After the encounter, Kubo decides she wants to make something special for Junta at the picnic. Her choice? Hamburg steak. The problem? Kubo's cooking skills are, let's say, dangerously low level. We jump into a full-on cooking comedy sequence. Kubo tries her best but instantly runs into trouble. Saki, who actually knows what she's doing, steps in before things go nuclear. There's finger cutting, smoke, chaos, the works. Kubo gets discouraged, but Akina gives her a surprisingly heartfelt pep talk, basically telling her to get up, try again, and make something she can be proud of. And with both of them helping, Kubo manages to make a proper Hamburg steak on her second attempt. Victory unlocked. Cut to the next day. Everyone meets under blooming cherry blossoms, and it's one of the most relaxing aesthetics in the entire series. Kubo finally gives Junta the dish she made, the Hamburg steak, and when he tells her it's delicious, she lights up like a lantern. It's the payoff for all that kitchen chaos, and honestly, it's adorable. Of course, the peace doesn't last. Akina starts drinking, and things go downhill fast. In classic drunk older sister fashion, she becomes way too flirty with Junta. It's awkward, uncomfortable, and Kubo is absolutely mortified. Kubo, completely embarrassed and furious, storms off. Junta tries to figure out how to fix the situation even though he wasn't the one at fault. Meanwhile, little Seita ends up playing peacekeeper, helping soften the tension with his usual innocent charm. Eventually, everyone calms down. Apologies are given, tensions fade, and things return to the mellow vibe we expect from the series. As the cherry blossoms fall around them, Kubo quietly asks Junta if he'd like to be in the same class as her next year. We pick up at the start of Shiraishi's second year of high school. As always, he quietly checks the new class list, hoping, though he won't admit it out loud, that Kubo might be with him again. And lucky for him, she is. When Shiraishi heads to his classroom, Kubo shows up with that bright smile of hers and casually points out that they've ended up in the same class. Not only that, but she's sitting right next to him. Their friends Tama and Hazuki are also in the class, so it feels like a fresh but comfortable start to the school year. Next up is committee selection. Last year, Shiraishi worked on the environmental committee, taking care of the class plants. He did it quietly, but he actually did a great job. Kubo, of course, immediately signs up for the same committee, partly because she wants to support him, and partly because she just wants more time with him. Some classmates tease that Shiraishi joined because of her, but another student, Sudo, steps in and defends him, pointing out Shiraishi's hard work. Sudo needs an eraser, but is too shy to ask. Kubo jumps in and loudly asks Shiraishi how many erasers he has. Turns out, he has 5. Don't question it. Anime protagonists are mysterious. Sudo borrows one, and that tiny exchange becomes the start of an unexpected connection. Sudo later explains that he had actually wanted to talk to Shiraishi for a while. He had struggled with growing plants in his own class and noticed how good Shiraishi's were. But because Shiraishi tends to blend into the background, Sudo never found the confidence to approach him. After school, Shiraishi and Kubo meet at a vending machine and walk home together. Their conversation turns personal when Shiraishi offhandedly says he doesn't really have any friends. That comment clearly stings Kubo. She's been by his side all this time, so hearing him say that makes her feel like he doesn't see her the same way she sees him. Realizing this, Shiraishi asks her if he can consider her a friend. Kubo responds that she's always seen him that way, and the mood softens immediately. For Shiraishi, it's a small but meaningful step toward letting himself be seen. Episode 10 kicks off with a light classroom vibe. Everyone's settling in, chatting, and easing into the day. But as usual, the real attention is on Shiraishi and Kubo, whose playful back and forth picks up immediately. Things start with a staring contest. Kubo challenges Shiraishi out of nowhere, and he loses almost instantly. His punishment? From now on, he has to be the one to greet her in the morning. It sounds tiny, but for Shiraishi, who still struggles just being noticed, that small rule feels like a big step. For Kubo, it's one more excuse to be part of his daily routine. A little later, a chalk mishap leaves Shiraishi covered in dust. Of course, Kubo spots it instantly and brushes the chalk out of his hair. It's a gentle gesture, quick, natural, and just personal enough to make Shiraishi completely freeze up. Then Kubo switches gears and starts casually teasing him about what kind of girls he likes. She even brings up ponytails just to watch him fluster his way through an answer. Then comes one of the episode's standout moments, the height comparison. Kubo notices Shiraishi might have grown a bit and insists they check. She backs him up against the wall, leans in close, and for a few seconds, the air between them gets thicker than either of them expected. Shiraishi can't take the pressure and bolts from the scene, overwhelmed and red-faced. But what he doesn't see is how the moment affects Kubo too. The usually confident teaser is left a little shaky herself. It's one of those situations where everybody else can see what's happening between them long before either of them is ready to admit it. Kubo suddenly invites Shiraishi to go see a movie with her. As usual, he's completely caught off guard. He tries to play it cool, but we can all see the panic bubbling under the surface. It's classic Shiraishi, adorably overwhelmed, while Kubo confidently pushes things just a step further. When the day of the date arrives, there's an immediate curveball. Kubo shows up wearing a ponytail. It's not just a style choice. Earlier in the series, Shiraishi had mentioned that he liked her hair like that. So, this is Kubo's quiet, intentional way of getting closer to him. And the moment he notices, instant fluster. The episode really leans into how tiny details can hit like a truck when you're crushing on someone. On their way to the movie, they board a packed train, and this is where Shiraishi's invisibility gag is pushed to the limit. He awkwardly tries to avoid brushing against Kubo, and the whole scene is equal parts funny and painfully relatable. At one point, Kubo grabs onto the strap of his bag so she doesn't lose her balance, and that tiny bit of contact sends Shiraishi into silent meltdown mode. Later, after the movie, they run into a group of guys who start flirting with Kubo. Shiraishi freezes, unsure what to do, but Kubo solves the problem instantly by grabbing his arm and boldly declaring that he's her boyfriend. It shocks everyone, including Shiraishi, who basically short-circuits on the spot. Even after the guys leave, Kubo keeps holding on to him just a little longer than she needs to, and the show lets that moment hang in the air. As the day winds down, Shiraishi overhears something that makes him think Kubo might like someone. That small hint hits him hard. He feels a flash of jealousy, followed by a wave of realization he might like Kubo more than he's been willing to admit. The episode closes on Shiraishi quietly panicking about the possibility that Kubo already knows how he feels. This finale is built around 4 short vignettes rather than one long story, each one showcasing little shifts in the characters' relationships. They're simple scenes, but together they wrap up the season in a warm slice of lifestyle. One of the highlights is when Kubo and Shiraishi start doing personality tests on each other. It's lighthearted and playful, but also surprisingly revealing. They poke fun at each other, laugh at the results, and we get to see just how comfortable they've become spending time together. Then Shiraishi reads a test result for Kubo that suggests she wants lots of children, and Kubo immediately gets flustered and runs off. For someone who loves teasing Shiraishi, seeing her get embarrassed for once is both sweet and hilarious. Another vignette focuses on Kubo and her older sister Akina. Kubo makes a tiny white lie about drinking coffee, and Akina instantly picks up on how much her little sister has been changing lately. It's a soft, nostalgic moment that shows the people around Kubo noticing her growing interest in Shiraishi, even if she doesn't say it out loud. Then we see Shiraishi's birthday. Kubo gives him chocolate and a plush toy. Simple, thoughtful gifts that hit harder because of how understated their relationship is. Shiraishi is touched, and the show makes sure we feel the importance of these tiny gestures. All throughout the episode, there are small jokes, teasing comments, and reactions from classmates that keep things light and fun. But the emotional centerpiece arrives at the end, when we finally hear the story of how Kubo first noticed Shiraishi. She talks about seeing him in an old photo, finding him amusing, and then ending up seated next to him. Instead of brushing him off like most people do, she chose to pay attention to him. This quiet reveal reframes the whole series. It wasn't an accident that she saw him when no one else did. She wanted to. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap of Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more cozy anime breakdowns just like this. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Kubo Shiraishi moment was, and I'll see you in the next video.